Hello, welcome to the next video. This time just want to go over the 7 Dwarves, which I've just finished. I had a very love-hate relationship with this model. I mean, if you've seen much of my work, you know that I'm pretty much obsessed with focusing the viewer and using different techniques like saturation and color and value to pull the viewer's attention. I had a lot of trouble really considering and deciding what I was going to do with this model. Dust. Because there's seven faces, so really there's 7 focal points you could have. I mean, you could. So in the end, I kind of decided to make things harder on myself and try and make things like a picture book. You can see it's got this heavy shadow for almost half of the model, which in essence makes the main shadow point right in the middle. I mean, like, you've got your terminator of the shadow almost central on most of the characters, despite the light being over here, below to the left, and then the shadows reflection colder over here. The main idea, at least that I was trying to achieve with this one, was to have the light sort of drop off as it went further to the right, because if the light is over here, then of course less of it is going to reach this side of the model, especially if you look, they're a little bit curved, they're not just flat. So see, if the light is down here, you can't even see Grumpy, so you have to take some liberties, but I suppose consider the light to be probably about there, but you know, realistically it's between there and there, depending on the model. You have to fake some things and break the rules of nature to make it work, because the way specularity works, in reality, the light will move as you move the model, as you move an object. So we have to make those decisions to try and get the best look of what we're painting, really. So before I painted this model, I was thinking, you know, what kind of idea can you do on this? This is going to be a very popular model. I knew for sure it was going to be very popular. I mean, look at it, it's awesome. Lucas did an incredible job sculpting it, and already there are incredible versions out there. People are painting this, and it just seems to be pulling awesome work out of pretty much everyone who's doing it. So I wanted to do something that was a little bit different but also challenging. My main idea was I wanted to do a colour wheel. So you see you've got yellow, green, turquoise, bluish purple, magenta, red. I think the Sleepy, he looks a bit more purple in reality. But then I chose these colours because, you know, opposites this way are kind of like part of the wheel. And then you've got Doc in the centre, who is white, which is a combination of all of them together. I thought that it ended up being a pretty cool choice in the end. And I mean, I wanted Sneezy to have green, because when I think of sick, I think of like green colours, and then Bashful is kind of like the good looking one, so you know, he's wearing like the royal purple one. the royal purple colour, and then, you know, you've got Grumpy, who's in red because, you know, red, angry. Happy is in blue, light blue, because, well, to me, that's one of the happiest colours. And then Sleepy is appropriately as well, like, you know, dark blue, sleeping, nighttime, and Dopey, yellow. I don't know why, but yellow is appropriately dopey. It just seemed to work out quite well. I don't know why, but I think that's a pretty good happenstance to occur during the painting of this project, so I can't complain about that. Now, another thing that I think will happen a lot with this model is a lot of freehand. There is so much freehand potential for checks and different patterns, especially like Sleepy. I've seen people doing stars and moons and teddy bears on his clothes, and I was sorely tempted to do that. I really thought about it. I even mocked it up on the Procreate app using my iPad. It looked pretty good, but in the end I chose not to do that. I wanted to just let the colours speak for themselves. There is already enough going on in the scene that I didn't want to add too much more. I do like all of these little details, like the birds and the little squirrel and the teddy. I like all of these extra details, but I didn't want to pull too much attention by going crazy on the freehands. I did choose to do pinstriping on Grumpy's vest, which I'm quite happy with, and then just this one line across Doc's hat, because when it was just purely white, it still looked okay, but I'm more happy with it with the one line across it. It was just like a bit too much stark white in the center, and it was pulling a little bit too much attention. So one other thing that I wanted to try and achieve with this project was different hairstyles and colors, because it's a perfect opportunity to get a chance to freehand different hair. So like I've got Bashful, he's got like, you know, the straight blonde hair, and I've got Sleepy, who's got kind of like a little bit curly, like red blonde hair. And you've got Sneezy, who's got the stylish plait in his beard, which is more of a dark red. And you've got the grey beard of Doc, and you've got the white scruffy beard of Happy. I really wasn't sure whether this was going to turn out. I don't know if you can see it in there. Oh yeah, that's coming up all right in the focus. But I've sort of cross-hatched the end of his hair to try and make it look a little bit more bristly, a bit more thick. But then I didn't cross-hatch the hair on the back of his head because it would be softer. You know, regular hair is softer than beard hair. If I started this project again now from scratch, knowing what I do now from completion, I probably would have moved the shadow line over a bit more. So instead of having it almost center line, I'd have it a little bit further over, because it makes the scene quite dark, and especially on this side, you've got really dark. A dark looking side. It still looks cool. Like, shadows are cool. I obviously think shadows are cool because I paint them all the time, but it would have been a lot easier on me if I didn't push it so hard to have so much shadow within so much of the main view. I feel like shadows can look really bad if you don't get them right, especially when you've got a shadow in the spot where your eye is expecting to see a reflection of light. Like here on Sleepy, that was a tricky one to get, and then Happy as well. Like, he's painted with light coming from this side, but when you look at it from the front, you're seeing him into the shadow. So I spent a lot of time working on this shadow here to make sure that it looked good, so that when you're looking at it from front on, you look at it and it doesn't feel out of place. And it's not perfect. It certainly isn't perfect. There's still so much to learn about shadows and painting shadows. I still feel like I'm a complete beginner with them. Like, there's just so much potential to learn with them. And then my actual favorite shadow part is up here. Sneezy is really, really complex. Maybe not quite as complex as Happy, but I'm happy with how it came out. Like the differentiation in tone in his beard is visible, and it's tinted a little bit green because he's got green clothes, and he's within the shadow, the green of his clothes is bouncing around, and I've got the same here. I'm just quite happy with that. And Lucas does an incredible job with the hands. I think my favorite part of painting this project was the hands. All the hands in this model are just great. Bashful's hand's probably my favorite, this one. But Sleepy's good, and just such well sculpted hands. Like, look at the life in those hands. It's just a joy to work with and a joy to paint. If I had to pick a favorite, it would be Sneezy, I think. Just because I quite enjoyed that shadow side. I feel like he's got some cool depth. This reflection in his nose from his hand in the shadow, that's quite nice as well. And I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, but I tried to have this being sort of like a cast iron pot, so it's dark. So I wanted to get it to be NMM looking metalish, but without using much value. And that's tricky to do, because most of the non-metallic metal convincing look that people expect to see comes from, big blocks of white, and this really doesn't go much above, some mid-range tones. So I tried to use a whole rainbow of greys in there. There's kind of like yellow, blue, purple, green, all the rainbow within the metal. It's not hugely visible because it's, they're close to grey, but I was hoping that would help be a bit convincing. So I'll just turn the model, give you a look from other angles, but we're getting close to 15 minutes now, and I think that's probably going to be long enough. I'll throw some of the final photos on at the end as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something about my thought process and the things that I said. I wonder how useful that will be. It just feel like I've been rambling on for ages now, so I'm going to let it go. And very much appreciated to everyone who's had a look at this and watched the video. You're all legends. See you later.